Live from the home of Al Capone, Michael Jordan, and Deep Dish Pizza. Giving it to you straight from the horse's mouth. Unfiltered and restoring hope to the podcast universe. Gary Franchi.
And welcome back to the G-Cast. I am Gary Franchi with my beautiful bride, Angie. What's up, girl?
Thank you. Welcome back, everybody.
Holy cow, it's been a wild 2 weeks. We haven't done a podcast. We have not been playing hooky. I want to make sure everybody's aware of that.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
We've had some difficult things. If you're following the community posts on the Next News Network, if you check that last one, we did have an unfortunate event in the family. And we've been dealing with it for a couple of weeks, some pretty deep-seated things, trying to understand things.
Processing it all. I mean, we had a loss in our family, and it took longer than, I mean, what do we know how long things take, right? You assume that you can jump back into work and be normal, but it definitely took us, and it's still taking us some time to process everything.
Yeah, it really is.
So thank you for hanging in there and returning back with us tonight.
And I need to point out that if you're having difficulty, depression, you're struggling with things in your life, make sure you reach out to someone before you decide to do something that you can never take back. That's all I'm really going to say. Because a lot of lives are affected if you make the wrong choice. And it was very difficult to go through the last couple of weeks grieving with family members in unexpected circumstances. And our hearts are continually breaking for that family, and we pray for them every night, and we ask that you do as well. For more details, and if you want to support that family, head on over to the Next News Network and check out the community tab. And if your heart moves you, make a contribution to support the widow and the 2 children affected. So with that said, it is Friday, and it's Hawaiian Shirt Day.
It has arrived. Friday has arrived.
I decided to go on vacation. I'm on vacation, man.
Good. I know. I'm going to join you today. I need it.
The world it's on fire. Literally, it's on fire.
Yeah. You know the saying, like, you can't make this stuff up? Like, I feel like this stuff is just out of the craziest scenario imagination you could ever make up.
Every single day.
Yeah.
It's like 2020. Will you end, please?
But will it spill over?
Oh, God.
Indeed.
I don't know. I think that every day it just keeps getting crazier and crazier. We just reported yesterday, Gretchen Whitmer has now declared that racism is a health crisis. Okay, so I guess, once everything's racist, nothing's racist. So anyway, we've got a really great guest today.
We do.
I'm really excited. We were having a little pre-interview before, and you're going to love this guy. His name is Dr. Stephen Soloway. Steven. Uh-oh, I said it wrong. My bad. But we're going to be bringing him on.
Head.
Yeah, well, it's got
head.
the PH here. And he just went through the whole thing.
Yes, he
did. And I'm like, okay. And I said Stephen anyway. That's part of my problem. That's my problem, right?
That's your problem, Gary.
Gary,
Steven.
Hair looks beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
It really does.
I'm excited. I finally got to the hairdresser.
Yeah, I need a haircut.
You're getting there.
It's getting kind of crazy.
You're getting there. But, there's going to probably be a competition today between you and our guest.
Yeah, well, he's a handsome man.
He's a handsome guy, and has a shirt that's on that's real nice as well.
I know, and even though, I don't swing that way, he's a pretty handsome guy, I don't swing. I don't hit for the other team.
It's the shirt.
You know what I'm saying?
Did you write down the name of the shirt?
I don't talk about his shirt. Let's bring on our guest. He is actually. Where's my intro? I have an intro here. I'm supposed to read.
Dr. Stephen Soloway.
Dr. Stephen Soloway, from fatal malpractice cases to Medicare fraud. Dr. Stephen Soloway has seen it all during his 30 years of practicing medicine. Brian, you can bring him up on the triple box so everyone can see him. He was appointed by Chris Christie to New Jersey's Board of Medical Examiners, and most recently to President's Council for Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition. Now he has a diagnosis for all Americans. There's one thing that America needs. It's a second opinion right now.
I love that.
It really does.
That's brilliant.
So he's got a diagnosis for all Americans.
You guys are killing me.
And he's got a diagnosis for all Americans, our healthcare system, and our country as a whole. And it's headed for disaster. Here to tell us what the doctor recommends. Welcome, Dr. Stephen Soloway.
Help us out, Doc.
I said it again. I got to change this phonetically.
Oh,
Steven, listen. I'll make you a deal.
I'll just say your
you
name for
wanna-
the rest of the show.
If you want to call me Stefan, every time you say Stefan, you buy 10 books.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
That's a fair. Yeah, we'll
And
hand them out.
Not only that, I'm going to sign them for you, okay? So every
Ooh.
book you get, I sign.
Aw, that's good.
And
That's
I got
good stuff.
and I got a signature that's as awesome as my shirt. So I got 360 signatures to go with my 360 shirts.
Well, doctors are famous for having the craziest signatures, so.
Yeah, but I perfected them after they matched the shirts. Look, three. I got 3 fabric shirts.
I love it. I like
That's
the
why
watch.
these shirts are amazing.
I want the watch.
Gary's a watch guy. Steve.
I love
Oh,
the watch.
No, that's only a one. That's a one type watch.
That's a
But
beautiful
wait.
watch.
You want to see? Wait, hold on.
I love this.
How do I show you the watch?
There it is. Oh my goodness, that's gorgeous.
That is beautiful.
What is that? Is that a roll-up?
It's snot. It's green snot.
Oh, it's not.
No, it's emerald. Come on.
It's gorgeous.
Can you see what that kind of watch that is?
It's a $5 Rolex. I got it under the bridge.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
That's the best place.
Can you make it back over there later and pick a couple up for us too for $5 each?
No, I got you guys. When you were on vacation getting Hawaiian shirts, I was out getting you Pate Philippe's under the bridge that are even better.
I miss New York.
You know, New York.
I wasn't in New York. In Philadelphia, they got better bridges.
Better selections.
So
yeah,
you-
there you go. Because I live in South Jersey. I'm a half an hour south of Philadelphia, half hour west of Atlantic City, and 75 miles south of Manhattan. So whatever watch you need, I got a city with a selection. And to the south of me, I got Baltimore. And you can imagine what they sell there?
You know, I remember going to New York
We
years
gotta make a
ago,
trip.
and they were selling these purses and handbags.
That
and
was with me.
with my wife here, and they were taking us to these crazy back rooms where these Asian women were just sewing away like in a sweatshop, and they were trying to sell us all these bags that were totally fake.
They thought he was a cop, though.
Yeah, they thought it
some
was a
places they wouldn't let
Well,
us in.
you know, if I can interrupt, there's a story here. So these women are brought over, and they're indentured servants, and they're indentured servants for about 2 years, and they do fear for law enforcement. But after 2 years of their indentured servancy, they are then allowed free if their handler allows them, and usually they are allowed as long as they have performed the proper things that they were instructed on doing. And that is not a joke.
No, I don't think it's a joke.
No.
It's human trafficking.
No,
I mean,
but I would say that it's a hidden form of human trafficking that people either overlook, don't know about, don't care about, or just are paid off enough or something.
It was just the most bizarre memory because in the there's
Yeah.
like a front little spot that you can.
speak into your mic.
There's a front little spot that you could see the handbags and whatever they're selling, and then in a moment or two, if they feel comfortable, they say, "Come over here," and you're like, "Okay,
Yeah.
is there more?" And then there's a back room, and assumingly you don't think like, "Okay, this is odd, right?" But you don't think that they're back there against their will.
You
But
know,
this is-
when I was in China, I got a few guys, I went to a park, and the guy says to me, "Hey, come here," and he shows me a photograph of a beautiful young woman. He says to me, "For $25, I'll sell you my granddaughter."
Oh.
So I said, "Why would I buy her for $25 there when she's only $9 in Philadelphia?"
Oh,
my God!
I was joking.
Of course you were.
But the point is, whether you're in China or Philadelphia, the indentured servant really does live on. That's the truth.
wow.
And it's not talked about, but it is true.
Well, what I do want to talk about
And if any of the listeners don't believe me, they just need to come with me to China one time. Although I'm not going back to China again. I had enough times there. God forbid I get that China virus or something, and I ain't going.
Well, we want to talk about all that, but you also have a relationship with the Trump family we want to talk about as well. How did you meet President Trump, or then real estate agent, real estate mogul Trump, and what's your relationship there? And you done some medical work with them as well.
Nah,
the family.
I was so good looking. They recruited me for the modeling agency. And then they found out I was a guy, so they started a male modeling agency. And then I worked my way up the ladder, and then they said to me, have lunch. I like the building so much, I bought an apartment. Next thing you know, I see the guy's name on the building. My name's on the building, and I ran into him in the hallway. We had lunch. He said, you seem like a nice man. You're young. He said, if you like our services here at the building, I'd like to offer you, as many as you want. So I said, as long as you don't charge me a lot, I'll be happy to buy him. So you know what? We made a deal. Who else makes a deal?
Oh, I love it.
So we made a deal. We became friends, and we remain friends for 20 years now.
That's
and by the
wonderful.
way, all those years went on, and we made a deal every year. So I have the most apartments in his hotel condominiums, because he has residential, he has commercial, he has hotel, mixed use. So I am an owner in the mixed use buildings that double as apartment buildings for for residents, and for hotel units, which are condominiums for transients. And honestly, I have to tell you, he technically is the founder of the concept, although a purist will go fact check me, and there's one guy from the 1950s who came up with the idea like on a Thursday and dropped it on a Friday. But Donald Trump invented the hotel condominium concept, and he should get the credit for it. And it's a brilliant idea. And because of it, I patented the term, copyrighted the term, a bond you can sleep in. So, you buy a bond and every month you get your interest. You buy a stock and you hope it grows, like Amazon or whatever your favorite stock is. Now, with these things, you buy an apartment, so it appreciates, so there's your stock, but you also get rent, so there's your bond. So because I had that published in more than 3 magazines, and I guess that was the rule for me at the time, and I guess there's a different rule depending on who you are and what your affiliation and how much you donate to which communist party or something or other, they gave me a patent and a copyright to the term, a bond you can sleep in.
Wow.
So don't ever talk about that without checking with me. Otherwise, it's a copyright infringement.
Got
All right,
it.
we'll make sure we don't do any of that.
Definitely not.
So that's a pretty cool experience. So you've been friends with President Trump for 20 years, or then
Well,
president,
actually,
now
wait.
president.
If you want to get technical, I've been friends with Donald Trump 17 years, President Trump 3 years.
Exactly.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So have you been to the White House?
I have.
And what's it
my
like?
first trip to the White House was on a school trip, actually, like from Queens.
So what was it like seeing? Did you go to the Oval Office? Did you visit Mr. Trump in the Oval Office?
I did. Yes, I did.
And what was that like?
It's very surreal. You're literally part of living history. You could talk about all the monuments. You could talk about the Grand Canyon. You can talk about New Orleans. You can talk about Las Vegas. You can talk about the Statue of Liberty. You can talk about the World Trade Center, the Empire State Building. You can talk about anything you like. But there's nothing like the hub of all of that, which is centered in the White House, and the Oval Office being the headquarters of the United States government, the president. You get goosebumps walking in. You freeze up. You can't talk. You're nervous.
I bet.
You're standing in the same room where I don't know, Woodrow Wilson, Teddy Roosevelt, Herbert Hoover, or Hoover vacuum cleaner, or whoever. No, I'm kidding. Harry Truman, my favorite, the atomic bomb man. So you're standing in a place where the most historic people in the world and history have ever been. You've been where Winston Churchill and Hitler, and well, not Hitler, but you've been where Babe Ruth, probably recently Mariano Rivera. So the best of the best, the Olympic athletes, the professional,
so many
World
events
Series winner,
there.
the Super Bowl team. So you're standing, which is in a place that's reserved for royalty. But I got in with my green card.
You're sitting there with your friend that you've known for 20 years. Did you imagine
give or take
him?
20 years.
Had you ever imagined, or did it feel like, yes, this is my friend. He's finally here. Did you imagine it for him? Did you believe it for him to happen?
Yeah. So I'm glad you asked me that. Probably 10 years ago, I asked him, and this is before I knew he had political aspirations. I asked him, I said, I think I heard that you're into politics. You should run for president. He said, not yet, not yet. And then 4 years later, I said to him again, I said, when are you going to run for president? He said, not yet. So this time around, I felt it, okay? I had a conversation with probably, I won't say the name, but his number one confidant in the world. I'm very close with him. And we had a conversation, and he said to me, Steve, come to the building on such and such a date back in 2016. He says he's going to announce it that day. So I went, and I was not disappointed. I've got pictures of myself sitting right there in the first row. I watched the first family come down the escalator and so on. I watched Don and Eric and Ivanka and Tiffany, and I believe Barron might have been there. I will tell you, this experience was moving. I heard the entire speech. I was there for it. I didn't watch it on TV. I felt it. But you know what? When all the critics and all the skeptics and all the naysayers, when they all came out, and they all said, this guy's a buffoon. This guy, he has no chance. You know what my answer to everybody was? And I regret one thing.
What's that?
I said, he's going to win hands down. And they said, are you kidding? This guy's a clown. He's not a politician. I said, you don't understand something. He does and will work harder than anybody, and he will win. And I should have put my money where my mouth was, because had I wagered in Las Vegas, I would be a very rich guy right now, and we'd probably be talking about how much money I have instead of somebody else. But the truth is that there's not one person that knows me. I mean, people that like me, people that don't like me, my best friend, they all said to me, Steve, you're nuts. The guy has no chance at all. I said, you're wrong. He works harder than everyone else, and that's why he's going to win. In fact, they asked Lyndon Johnson, I believe, the same question. How are you going to win? You got nothing going on for yourself. He said, I'm going to work harder than everyone else. Guess what? The guy who works the hardest wins. And that's why socialism doesn't work. Because in socialism, nobody works the hardest unless you run the party.
Well, I mean, I should point out that Lyndon Johnson, he did have an advantage when they blew off Kennedy's head to get himself into.
You're right, but he had a rerun, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, but when you rig the game, that's what they do, and they're doing it now. Of course, they're trying to do the mail-in voting, and the president's pushing back on that. And then you have
in case I threw you off, I'm not a fan of Lyndon Johnson.
Oh no, I'm not. I don't care, if you like him or not. I'm just saying,
no, I don't like him.
Just from a historical standpoint, he did get into the office because they killed Kennedy, and we could have a conversation about who killed Kennedy all day long.
Yes, you can, but we won't.
We're not going to get into that. That's for another podcast.
Fun one we'll do.
But we're talking.
Maybe out of my own nervousness, maybe I picked the wrong guy. Maybe Johnson wasn't the one I was referring to. But there was a president that I do think it was.
That's okay. No worries.
You're fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Your story gave me chills, though, thinking about it.
Totally.
And it makes absolute sense. I mean, we see him, and you sit back and wonder, how does he have the stamina to go through what he goes through every single day, because the attacks don't stop.
You know what? I'm gonna answer that for you right now.
Well, we got 30 seconds, and I want to get that answer when we come back, about the president's stamina, how he endures these constant attacks. Being somebody that's so close to the president and the first family, I know you're going to have some really genuine insight into that, because it is pretty painful to see how somebody could go through all that. But it's like he's a machine. He keeps moving and he keeps moving. So we're going to come back on the next segment.
Yeah.
And we're talking with Dr. Stephen Soloway.
You got it, Gary.
Dr. Stephen Soloway on the G-Cast.
Be right.
The G-Cast will be right back after this short break from our sponsors. G-Cast After Hours is back.
And welcome back to the G-Cast. I'm Gary Franchi with my beautiful bride, Angie.
Hi, Gary.
And
Hi, everybody.
We have our special guest today, Dr. Stephen Soloway. Before we go further with Dr. Stephen Soloway and we try to figure out how the president actually goes through every day with all the attacks, Angie, have you seen the price of gold?
I have not.
It is like it's
good.
exploding. So I want everybody who's listening right now to call my friends at Noble Gold. Ask for Colin if he's available. He'll walk you through it. 877-646-5347. If you're interested in converting your IRA or your 401k into a portion in gold, you got to do it right now. And the best part about working with my friends at Noble Gold, they've been sponsors for many, many years now. The best part is they will actually deliver you your gold so you can hold it in your own personal safe or however.
Hold it. Hold that gold.
You can hold it.
You can
hold it. But it still is applied to your IRA or 401k. So you don't have to worry about someone holding it off in a bank somewhere. You actually can take possession. And my friends at Noble Gold will help you. And now it's going to keep going up, because the more that we have uncertainty in the markets, the more solid and stable gold will be. It's always been a stable store of wealth. So call my friends, 877-646-5347. That's the number, and we will also link to it in the description below. Now, Angie.
Gary. We're talking about Donald Trump's stamina. Talking about him getting attacked the way he does constantly. Dr. Stephen Soloway, you've been around him for 20 years now. You know his stamina. You know his work ethic. How does he get through it?
So the first thing I want to say is, and this will lead into my story to answer that question, is I liked your ad on the gold. I got to tell you that. You're right. gold's going to skyrocket with uncertainty in the market. But if you want a really safe bet, you got to take care of your health, which means you must go on Amazon and buy Stephen Soloway's book called Bad Medicine.
There's
And
the
Bad
plug.
Medicine, yep, Bad Medicine will answer all of your questions about who, what, where, why, when you should see for what problem. And we'll talk more about that later. But I need to
Excited.
answer the question about Donald Trump's stamina. Donald Trump is a great friend of Steve Soloway. And I know this because I'm Steve Soloway. Donald Trump is an admiration. He's an inspiration. He's given me guidance, some direct, some peripheral, on how to run my own business without me asking. So by being in the man's presence, his aura is so strong that merely by following perhaps things he says or does has driven some of my own business acumen on top of my learned medical acumen. The business acumen, some people get it, some people don't. But if you get it and you're just not exposed to it, it's nice to hear ideas from people that are successful. So no better than a successful business person than another successful business person who can put a different spin on things. Now, President Trump is clearly a self-motivated, energetic man who realizes that in life, if you're not going forward, you are going backwards. So he recognizes that if he's not putting out his 100% energy 100% of the time, that he's wasting his time when he could be doing, things that he perhaps enjoys more. But I think he's extremely intelligent. He's in extremely good health. He doesn't sit in those golf carts. He walks the course. He loves golf. I mean, if he wanted to play football in a senior league, he could do that, but he likes golf. If he, whatever sport he'd want, he'd excel at. And he excels both mentally and physically. The guy is sharp. You ask him a question, he knows the answer. And frankly, like I do in my practice, if I have a patient who's very difficult and I think, gee, they might be in another field, I better call somebody in a different field to help me out. I think President Trump, he has that same mindset. If I'm really not 100% sure what I want to do, like with this situation, I'm going to call Joe, even if it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I need to wake him up. I need to get my answer right now. Hey, but President, I'm sleeping. Hey, Joe, you work for me. We work on my schedule. We're always working. So it's a never say stop attitude that he has, which is how I knew he'd win the presidency in 2016. Unquestionably, he is a hard worker, devoted, loyal, professional, collegial, admirable, and the number one, that man knows how to live life.
So I want to ask you this question. You're throwing out a lot of names, a lot of attributes there, but one main attribute we always hear from the left is, "Oh, he's a racist. He's a white supremacist. He's a white nationalist."
Oh,
tell me,
of course he is.
You've had, I mean, I don't know if you want to go say, "Of course he is." Let me backtrack. Is the president a racist?
Are you kidding? That's ridiculous. That's ludicrous. Of course he's not a racist.
Right.
No, we don't believe he is.
Anybody
either.
who thinks the president is a racist needs to look themselves in the mirror and ask himself what a racist is.
Yeah.
Agreed.
The president has a Jewish daughter, and who's hated more than the Jews? Let's be serious, okay? Let's be really serious. How long were the Jews enslaved in Egypt? 2,000 years? Let's be serious. Mm-hmm. He's got a Jewish daughter, a Jewish son-in-law. He appointed Ben Carson to the cabinet, and last I checked, Ben's not Jewish, but he's not white. Where does this racism come in from? I mean, I want to know who decided he's a racist and on what basis? Because he doesn't agree with Nancy Pelosi? Because he can't stand Chuck Schumer? I think that makes you a hero. Are you kidding me?
I love that. It makes you a hero, yes, and not a racist. No, definitely not. We had the
I mean, how on earth can anyone call somebody a racist when they don't know anything about them? They hear sound bites, and therefore he's a racist. It's absurd.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to call me a racist because of one word I said taken out of context 12 years ago? But guess what? This year, the New Jersey NAACP gave me the business award for the year. It's postponed till next year because of the virus. So you know who the racist is? The damn virus.
Wow. Well, congratulations on that.
and the people that launched the virus to attack us.
Well, I want to talk about, since you bring us to the virus, we
Let's talk about
want to ask you.
Yes.
We have a couple video clips here we're going to play.
I just don't want to say anything that's going to get this censored because I'm too good to be censored.
Oh yeah, they're censoring everything these days. But we want.
I don't want to be censored again. I've been censored 4 times for being too smart.
No, it's going to be the shirt. We might get flagged for that.
Yeah. So you actually threw out
Hey,
the first.
look at this.
You threw out the
I
first.
swam. Guys, I swam 4 miles this morning before I came on the show.
In the shirt?
4 miles. Swimming 4 miles. My God.
I swim 20,000 yards a week, and I bike 55 miles a week. But I can't run because I got a bad ankle, because I don't know anybody who could treat arthritis except myself, and I'm afraid to treat myself.
Well, let's talk about some of the things you have accomplished here. Your first pitch, you threw out the first pitch for the Mets, July 3rd, 2011.
Wow.
So right now we're going to compare your first pitch with Dr. Fauci's first pitch. Brian, if you could bring up that video clip here.
See, from baseball 2020, we
This
get a
is
real
like
good feel for
Nolan
tonight.
Ryan
And
Nolan
now one
Ryan.
of the more well-known Washington National fans.
All right.
Dr.
Yeah.
Anthony Fauci.
Okay, bring it down. Okay, now let's play Dr. Stephen Soloway's pitch.
This is great.
And then I'm going to give you my
direct
analysis.
your attention to the pitcher's mound for today's ceremonial first pitch. Please welcome Mets season ticket holder since 2004, Dr. Stephen Soloway. All right, doctor, are you ready? It's your pitch. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Stephen Soloway.
All right.
Now that's
Yeah.
You make Fauci
Nice.
look like garbage. That guy
Well,
couldn't even get over the
so-
plate. You took a nice. That was a good pitch.
How exciting was
Well,
that?
Well, you got to understand something. Dr. Fauci, when he played high school baseball, he played left out.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of like his pitch. It was left and outside. So
Exactly. He was left out.
he was
Terrible.
off
True,
target, and he was far to the left, just like his predictions with everything in this pandemic that he started.
But bump.
Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. If you work in that government long enough, you become far left. Isn't that something?
Yep. Well,
Certainly
they love
is.
power. They love power. They love to be able to put 40 million Americans out of work. They love to help elect, establishment individuals. I think this whole thing, that's what it really comes down to. But there's some pictures here, Brian. We have some pictures, I guess, of some masks. The proper way to wear a face mask versus mistakes. Okay, so here's the doctor. There's the headshot. Okay.
I was going to say, that good-looking guy had an invisible mask on.
Yeah. Okay, Brian, can we bring the shot? Okay, there. So this is face
Love
Wait,
it.
I have a mask if you want me to demonstrate. I got one.
Oh, even better.
Okay,
This is
so
fabulous.
this
Yeah,
picture.
wait. Here, follow me over here. I'm going to get a mask.
We're going to follow the doctor here.
Look, I got a box of masks.
Wonderful.
This is going to be a live demonstration. This is great. Okay.
Now, okay, so you're gonna show us what the proper way to wear a mask. Okay.
So thing number one is the top of the mask has the metal bar, okay? I mean, some people don't know. The bottom has no metal, but the top does, and that's meant to form-fit around your nose. Because if it doesn't fit around your nose, all those bad viruses, those China viruses, they can get in. And so you got to cover and protect your nose. Now, I don't want to lose the speaker, but you got to then hook it around your ears, okay? So then what you do is after it's around your ears and you can, well, I can't see too good now, but this is a non-seeing mask, I guess. Wait. Okay, there we go. So it's under the glasses so I don't fog up the glasses, and it's covering the nose and the mouth. And it's actually, with metal, I can adjust it here so it's comfortable. So why wouldn't I want to spend the rest of my life in this mask? Why the hell would I want a vaccine? Right? I don't want a vaccine. I want to look like this so people don't know how ugly I am.
Like the Phantom of the Opera. Brian, bring up image 4. We're going to show some common mistakes.
This?
I love it. You look great. You're hiding all that beauty.
You want to
there.
see common mistakes?
So there's one mistake right there.
That's a good common mistake right there. People
let's see the next
around.
mistake.
Wait, no. The mistake is who's in the ad, not the mask.
Yeah, he's a mistake. He should be in handcuffs, not a mask. Next one.
There you go.
Okay, yeah, that doesn't seem like the proper way to wear a mask, does it? And then what about the next one, Brian? Look at this scumbag. Look at this guy. They're both wearing masks, but no. Do as I say, not as I do.
That's called the double standard mask.
Yeah, that's the double standard. Yeah, what a guy.
He owns a lot of those.
If he would have thrown a strike, he would have worn the mask right.
So tell me about, we have about a minute left in this segment, and I want to talk about some of your personal experiences with COVID. And
I was a patient.
So you actually had it.
Oh my God, I was in the hospital. I mean, not the hospital. I laid in bed for 3 weeks with a fever of 105 degrees.
Oh my goodness.
And when was this? Was this at the beginning
listen,
of?
I kid you not. So about late April, I guess, of this year, all of us had worn protective clothing. We all wore masks, gloves, gowns. We all believed we were infected, honestly, because we took temperatures on anybody coming in the building, but we let our guard down. We think one of the employees who later admitted they were working with a fever probably infected one of us in the back when we had the mask off, like in our private office. So that's where we think, because on one Friday afternoon, we all got sick. Every single person got febrile and sick. Now, believe it or not, as young as I look, I'm the oldest one here. So I was the sickest, and this is no joke, okay? What would happen, I felt bad. I didn't realize at that moment that I had COVID.
You know what?
But
Hold that thought. Hold that thought. We do have to jump to a break. I want to get the rest of the story. We got to pay some bills. So I want to hear about this COVID experience of yours. And, I mean, of course, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. I mean, we joke about the mask stuff and everything, but I want to talk about this when we come back on the other side. You're listening to the G-Cast. I'm Gary Franchi with Angie Franchi and Dr. Stephen Soloway. We'll be right back.
We've gotta pay a few bills over here, so sit tight, and the G-Cast will return in a few moments. time to return to the G-Cast with your host, Gary Franchi.
And it is Hawaiian Shirt Day on the G-Cast. Angie, you've got that beautiful Hawaiian skirt on.
Yep.
You look so beautiful today.
Thank you. I feel great. I feel really good.
And our guest is so beautiful, too.
He's a handsome fella.
He's a handsome fella. He's got the beautiful shirt on. Dr. Stephen Soloway is with us on the G-Cast today. We were just talking about his experience with COVID. And, of course, you know, it's nothing.
Hey, do I get honorable mention for Hawaiian shirt?
Absolutely. No, honorable mention. I think so. Absolutely. You deserve it.
All right.
Especially after you did that pitch. That pitch was beautiful. You put Fauci to shame.
And my shoulder hurt then, besides swam too much that time.
You know, my shoulder, I want to talk to you about the shoulder thing because I got this, I could feel this muscle, and I think it's because I'm always holding my phone, you know.
Listen, if I can't fix your shoulder in 5 minutes, nobody can fix it. I'll tell you that right now.
We're going to make a special trip out there.
Like when I move I move my arm. I don't know if you can hear that. Can you hear the cracking?
I'm not lying to you.
Can you hear the cracking?
You come to my office, you'll be fixed in 5 minutes. You don't even have to tell me the story. You'll be fixed.
I like the sound.
I haven't met a shoulder I couldn't take good care of.
So tell me about your experience with COVID. It's like I said, it's
COVID. Oh my
scary,
God.
Huh?
It's nothing to
Let me
laugh
tell you
about,
something.
But Fauci, you know.
No. This virus is this virus is like the flu on steroids. It's a nuclear type of thing. So the truth is, I got sick. I didn't know what was wrong. I went home. I got in bed. I checked my temperature. It was 105. I knew something was very wrong. And I thought with COVID going around, I probably had COVID. I couldn't smell. I couldn't taste. I couldn't breathe. And you might say, well, why didn't you go to the hospital? Well, I think my odds of living were better staying at home in bed and resting, truthfully. And frankly, I treated myself as if I was a COVID patient with what I had available to me. So you can consider me like the guy in the desert who has to survive with no clothes for 3 weeks. So I survived with what I had at home. And after about 5 days of a fever of 105, sweating and drenching the sheets, so short of breath that when my daughter tried to come up the stairs and drop me off a case of Gatorade so I'd hydrate, I couldn't walk from the bed 3 feet to the door. I couldn't walk to the bathroom. And I realized that I wasn't weak. I was that short of breath. But if I rested, I didn't have any oxygen consumption needs. So by having no needs, I didn't need to worry about using my air. And because I'm very fit from swimming and biking, I could lay there and with virtually no oxygen. Now, so 5 days I spent in bed with these very high fevers for several hours at a time. And I decided that to get the fever down, I would start taking prednisone in high doses, which, by the way, is currently one of the standards of care. And the other thing is I already had known that people who had shortness of breath from COVID often had thromboembolic disease or pulmonary embolus. And because of a prior health problem, I had anticoagulants at home, and I did, in fact, fully anticoagulate myself for about a week. So I want to, so that's my story. So after 5 days, for 5 days, I was walking zombie dead. For the next 5 days, I knew I wasn't dying anymore. And then on week 3, I started to feel normal. And on week 4, I went back to work and exercised like nothing happened. But that was a rough first 2 weeks. I'm not joking with you. It was rough. But I think I handled it very smart. I used what knowledge I had to stay out of the hospital. I monitored my oxygen saturation, which got very low, down near 80. And this is the problem. Had I gone to the hospital, they would have stuck a tube down my lungs, and I probably would have died. And that's how a lot of people die. People who have a cold get treated well because they get better anyway. People who have a real disease don't do well because our care is just not as good as it should be. And, that's what I talk about in my book, bad medicine. there's a lot more bad medicine than good medicine, and that's under good circumstances. Here we have a controversial topic. Nobody knows anything about the virus. You got 20 experts with 20 opinions. There's more opinions than there are solutions. There's no solutions except common sense. Common sense says if you get a fever, take something to lower the fever. I did that. Common sense says if you could be short of breath from clots in your lung, thin your blood. The only thing I couldn't do is I couldn't treat myself for cytokine storm. I mean, I could have, but I didn't have that drug in my house. I have it in the office. However, let me tell you, there's a disconnect on people's understanding, and this is very important. I make this point. There is protection from exposure, and then there's what happens to somebody once they're exposed. So everyone wears a mask, or nobody wears a mask, but people get exposed.
Yeah.
Some people get exposed, nothing happens. A year later or 3 months later, they're tested. It says your antibody is positive. It doesn't mean you're sick. It means you were exposed. And for most conditions, if you have the right antibody, you're protected immunity. It means you're not going to get it again. But with this virus, we haven't proven that because people have had it more than once. So let's bypass the exposure. Now we know you're exposed and you're sick. So there are different degrees of sickness, critically ill or non-critically ill. Let's focus on the critically ill because we don't want people to die. So if somebody comes to the ICU, to the emergency room, they can't breathe, there's a suspicion of COVID, they do an x-ray and a CAT scan, they say, oh, he's the pneumonia, something's wrong, admit the patient, they probably have COVID, it'll take a period of time to get the swab back. What are we going to do for this person so we don't kill them while we're waiting for the test? Well, today, the standard of care at most American institutions, and I say American institutions because I don't know what they give in Western Europe, I don't know what they give in Eastern Europe, and they probably don't give anything in South America. Who knows? But you get high-dose steroids to reduce the inflammation. You get an antiviral drug that was developed for Ebola called Decinavir or Denizavir, something like this.
I thought it started
everyone
with an
knows
R.
what I'm talking about.
Was it Resdivir? Something like that.
You guys are
Resinavir.
Yeah, Resinavir or
So
something. Yeah.
and then everybody gets anticoagulation with a blood thinner. This way you cover if you have overwhelming viral load or viral pneumonia, you're by using Resinavir, I think it's called. By using Resinavir, Recidivir. I'm so sorry. By using Recidivir, it's been proven that you can decrease your hospital stay from 14 to 11 days. Keep in mind, I didn't say it'll cure you. All I said is it can. I didn't say it will. I said it's been shown that it can reduce your hospital stay for 3 days, from 14 to 11 days. That's a fact. So if everyone gets that drug, it's a risk-benefit ratio on side effects, but generally it's tolerated for a week or two. Then the next thing is you give steroids. Keep the fever down, keep the inflammation in the lungs down. Again, is there any proof that it gets you out of the hospital faster? Not necessarily, but you do feel better.
Now,
and then the third thing is the blood thinner, okay?
Right.
So there's speculation that people die from blood clots in their lungs. So we empirically give them blood thinners. Now, after that being said, I want everyone to understand that you can be exposed to COVID, test positive, and have no symptoms ever. You can test positive for COVID after having a cold, or you can become critically ill. 1% of patients, 1% of people who are exposed will die. There's no way around this. And there's nobody who can tell you otherwise. And there's no data to dispute this. So in the United States, where we keep, I'm not going to say perfect data, but where we keep the most accurate data of any country in the Western world, because in the Eastern world, the data is toilet paper. So in the Western world, the death rate is 1%. So if 100 million Americans are exposed before a vaccine, we're going to have 1 million dead. And we're at 250,000 dead now. Now, I said 250, not 150. The newspapers report 150 or 160 now. They're leaving out the 12,500 that were murdered at the nursing homes in New York. And they're leaving out the 75,000 that weren't counted from February and March that were suspected of having COVID. Now, on the flip side, to play devil's advocate, I know a guy who was killed in a car accident and he died on impact. When he got to the hospital, they said, oh, he tested positive for COVID, but to get more money, they submitted him as a COVID death.
Right.
So go explain that to me.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of rampant fraud, and of course, testing. We're finding the numbers are just not adding up. In Florida, there was multiple sites, multiple test locations that weren't even reporting negative results, just positive results. So everyone that came through, it was 100% positivity rate. And then they got caught, and they had to revise the numbers. And then, of course, what happens next? They canceled the Jacksonville events for the Republican National Convention. How convenient. So a lot of this is, I guess they call it pandemic politics is what we're dealing with. But I'm glad to see that you are.
I like your terminology.
Yeah, that is from a previous guest here, Mark Vargas. He actually was instrumental in helping Governor Rod Blagojevich get pardoned or commuted by President Trump, as well as Roger Stone. So he was a guest here just a couple of weeks ago talking about some of those events. Now,
sounds like a great patriot. He sounds like.
Oh, he's a great guy, and it's amazing to hear the things that go on behind the scenes to get things on the president's radar. And with everything you've just told us, have you been able to, with your friendship with the president, how often you talk to him, have you been able to transmit any of this information to him?
In the last 6 to 9 months, I've been isolated completely. I've tried very hard. The last time we spoke in person was when he was in New Jersey campaigning for Jeff Van Drew in Wildwood, New Jersey. That was, I believe, in the fall, but it was definitely before the virus. We spoke for about 10 minutes. We said we'd resume our conversation, and he's so layered with insulation that it's unfortunate and it's very difficult,
Well, doesn't he have? Doesn't he have a cell phone? You can just call his cell phone. Does that? Can you do that?
The president of the United States is not allowed to carry a cell phone.
But didn't Obama have a BlackBerry he used to carry around before Hillary smashed it or something?
Well, so let me tell you the official rules. Whether Obama carried a cell phone or not, it wouldn't surprise me. But the rules are: presidents can't drive a car unless they're on private property. And presidents can't carry a cell phone because the cell phone can be hacked and tracked by any foreign government. Mm-hmm. So there's a Secret Service guy that may carry a device for him, but the usual route to reach him is through Molly Michaels, his personal administrative assistant.
I'm going to write that down. Molly Michaels.
Take some notes, Gare.
Molly.
Well,
do you have her number?
It used to be Madeline Westerhout, but Madeline's not there anymore.
We'll have to look up Molly. Hey, Molly, we'd like to set up an appointment in the Oval Office, please.
Well, that's going to be terribly
Just tell
hard.
him you're bringing Dr. Soloway.
Dr.
Tell him
Soloway.
I'll bring a cake.
Dr. Soloway is coming, and we're going to bring a cake.
We're just going to come by for 5 minutes.
And listen, President likes M&Ms, he likes Diet Coke, and he likes T-Bones. He likes a New York strip, so I'll bring a New York strip.
Aww.
I'll bring a Diet Coke, and I'll bring M&Ms.
Something tells me that he would just love a visit like that from his friend. With everything he's dealing with, I bet he would love it.
I think if it wasn't for the Secret Service and 28 bazillion lunatics trying to storm the White House, that it would be easy for me to go there with a steak.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, can you imagine those the poor Secret Service when those people in that Lafayette Square, they're tearing down Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, they're spray painting the Lincoln Memorial, they're tearing down everything. Why can't you just be arrested for destroying public property?
That goes through my mind as well.
Seems like it would be common sense to follow the law, arrest people for destroying public property, but
It's what we teach our kids. Don't
Hey,
touch
chapter 5 in my book, chapter 5 on Solowayisms. Common sense is not common.
It's not common. I can't wait to read this book. Are we going to get a couple giggles out of this? The way we're laughing with you in
that's
the
a good
interview.
Oh, you're gonna love my book. If you don't love my book, then you had a stroke or something. It's and by the way, for people who had a stroke, it's going to be on audio, but it's a great read. 300 pages. It's a great read. It starts off as an autobiography about me growing up in the slums of Queens, getting like my lunch money stolen every morning, and going to medical school in 3 countries, running all over the place, chasing my dreams. And then I find myself.
We got to jump to another break. I want to hear more about you chasing your dreams.
I want to hear more about this.
And
yes.
we will be right back on the Gcast. I am Gary Franchi.
And I'm Angie Franchi.
Co-host. What is your name?
Angie Franchi.
That's right, girl. That's right, girl. And our awesome guest today, Dr. Stephen Soloway, with his book, Bad Medicine. You got to pick up a copy at Amazon. We will be right back on the flip side. Oh, I said it again. Okay.
Don't go anywhere. Gary Franchi will be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Let's do it.
And now, back to the Gcast.
And we're back on the Gcast. Gary Franchi, Angie Franchi, and Dr. Stephen Solomon.
Dr. Stephen Soloway.
Soloway. I said Solomon.
Soloway.
Soloway. All the way with Soloway.
Is that your campaign slogan when you run for office?
Yes, it is. Except I'm not running for anything. I'm swimming.
Right on. So you were trying to send us a message during the break. We want to keep talking about your book, but you wanted to sum up something real quick.
All I wanted to do is tell you, Well, first of all, I want to thank you for having me on the show. You know, most people, they wait till the end, and then it's too late to really say thank you. So first, the most wonderful, lovely person, I love her to death, Martha Bonetta, made this possible. So Martha, I love you, and I really thank you for everything you did. If you're a good girl, I'll send you flowers or something beautiful. I have to find out where you live. I love you. Okay.
Yeah, she's
the
great.
second
She's
thing,
great.
real fast on the vaccine. I want
you,
everyone
Martha.
to understand the vaccine. Because my own patients are anti-vaccine. So I have to explain this. There's 150 companies making a vaccine. 149 companies make the same type, and one company makes another type. Dr. Fauci doesn't like the company that makes the special type, and I'm going to explain them very quick. A virus is a dumpling, okay? I want you to just picture this. A virus is a dumpling, a pork dumpling at a Chinese restaurant. The outer shell of the dumpling, okay, that's the messenger, that's the RNA, okay? The pork inside the dumpling, that is the DNA. It's the RNA that can mutate. So the RNA is the problem. So to get rid of the virus and the mutations, you have to kill the DNA. Every virus out there, from this Morena, which is hooked up with Pfizer and J&J and Eli Lilly and this one and that one, I'm sure they all have a good vaccine, but they all focus on the RNA. There's a company, the symbol for the company, it's Nang 10 or something. The symbol is NK. This vaccine, the immune system has two types, the humoral immunity and cell-mediated immunity. The vaccine gives you antibodies, which are known as humoral immunity, against the RNA, but they give memory T cells, which is cell-mediated immunity against the DNA. It destroys the virus, unlike the other vaccines. So for that reason, I feel that's the best vaccine, and that's the one that should be pushed as hard as possible because it can't mutate. That's it. That's what I had to say about vaccines.
Well, that makes perfect sense that you
Okay.
would choose
Thank
that
you.
one over the other ones. Sure.
Some people, as you said, a lot of your patients are anti-vax, and I know a lot of people that are. I always leave it up to the individual. It's their body, their choice. Let them decide what they want to do.
But
go ahead.
if I can interrupt you, you know why these people are scared? They're
Why?
scared because they think the government is going to treat them like the Tuskegee Airmen.
Well, it's a valid concern.
Yeah.
Certainly
There's
is.
doubt that's been put in their
what they-
mind.
When I
And
ask
fear.
them, why are you scared? Some of the people who you think, don't even live on this planet will say Tuskegee Airmen. And they don't have to say anything else because I can't convince them anything.
So speaking of bad medicine, you were talking about
Yes.
your book and some of the dreams you have. We only got about 5 minutes left in the show here, so I want to make sure that people can get an accurate description, and we can get this book into people's hands. So tell us more about the book.
Yeah.
You were talking about your dreams.
All right. So first of all, the truth is nobody knows what a rheumatologist is unless you're seeing one for an isolated problem and you don't even know what else they do. So I'm going to try to break it up very simple. A rheumatologist is a physician that is trained as an internal medicine doctor as opposed to a surgeon. So we have a background in internal medicine. So every rheumatologist is already an internal medicine specialist, and then they subspecialize in either cardiology, pulmonary, kidneys, or rheumatology. Rheumatology is multi-organ diseases that involve the joints. So, for example, rheumatoid arthritis is not a joint disease. It's a small joint symmetric arthritis with a predilection for the joints. It involves the skin with nodules. It involves the lungs with a lung disease. Lupus is a disease that involves the whole body, but it involves the joints. Crohn's disease is a bowel disease, but it involves the joints. Psoriasis is a skin disease that involves the joints. Celiac disease is a bowel disease that involves the joints. So the theme is here that whatever disease you have, it can present with joint pain, swelling, tenderness, fever, whatever, stiffness, morning stiffness. If you've got pain, stiffness, and swelling in your joints, the last person you need is an orthopedic surgeon or an urgent care. You need a rheumatologist to get rid of the inflammation and find out the cause to control the disease or cure the disease or determine it's a virus that goes away on its own. A good example, parvovirus, parvo B19. Now, on the flip side, people say, oh, you treat joints that hurt all over. No, I treat joints, period. So you have a bad shoulder. Okay. I ask you 3 questions. Does it hurt when you sleep on it? Yeah, it hurts. I can't do that. Can you reach behind your back to wipe yourself? No, it hurts too much.
No, I can do that,
you've got tendonitis. Give me the needle. You're not going to feel it. And I'm done. And you're better and you never see me again. If your pain comes back or it didn't work, you could have lung cancer. So you always treat the obvious and you look for the worst. But a smart doctor has to know the patient and has to know the list of the worst, because you never want to overlook something, because common things do occur commonly. Not common sense, but common conditions occur commonly, which is why urgent cares are busy, because people are walking in with, for Band-Aids. But in my book, I write about that I don't think we need urgent care, because the hospital sends you to urgent care. You spend $200 just to get sent to the hospital. The doctor owns the urgent care. He shuts his office, and you get $200 instead of $50 at the office. And all they do is give you a Band-Aid. So, if you're having a heart attack, go to the emergency room. If you're having a stroke, go to the emergency room. If you're having a cut or a bruise, go to your family doctor. If you have joint pain, go to a rheumatologist. So, in all fairness, I don't want to cut orthopedics out. What do? They take the people I can't fix and they replace their joints. And notice I said the ones I can't fix. There's other rheumatologists that can't do what I can do. I've injected people from all over the world that failed injections from 20 rheumatologists in 10 countries. But I do it different. I patented the needles, for God's sakes.
What are you injecting?
I have 9 international patents on needles, trigger fingers, carpal tunnel, tennis elbow, rotator cuff, spinal injections, everything. If you name it, and I have time to fix it, I can fix it. And if you need surgery, I will tell you that I can't fix it. You must have surgery. Now, if you have gout and you get gout attacks more than once in your lifetime, you're not being treated right or you're not following the directions. And if something doesn't get better, another rule of thumb, it's either the wrong diagnosis or the wrong treatment.
Yes.
This is not rocket science. This is a matter of understanding the patient, getting a good history. And by the way, it takes sometimes less than 2 minutes to get a good history. You look at their hands, you know what's wrong. And I've had people tell me, you're a quack. And even though I'm right, I'm a quack because I didn't hold their hand long enough. There's the aspect that a lot of patients, they look at you like you're their psychiatrist. They're lonely, they're professional patients. They're not worldly, they're not well-read, they're not watching your videos. They're just kind of reading comic books or something. I don't know.
I feel like this book, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's empowering the individual to advocate for themselves and to better understand.
100%.
Yeah, I'm going to really enjoy reading this book.
Yeah, I give people the knowledge. Like, for example, why don't you want to go on Medicare Advantage? Well, it's obvious. Medicare pays doctors the least. So in New York City, you can't find a doctor that accepts Medicare. You go pay the doctor and submit the bill. Now, Medicare Advantage is worse because you get paid the Medicare amount, but now you're not allowed to do testing because your favorite insurance carrier that's private says, oh, no, you're limited. You got to get a pre-authorization. Oh, you're dying? We'll do it tomorrow instead of in 4 months, but not today.
Well, doctor,
There's too many rules,
Terrible.
too many regulations, roadblocks.
Too many.
Sadly, we're coming to the end of our show, and I know
Let's have another one.
We're going to have to do another one. We'll have to have the doctor back. It's been a delight. I mean, his energy, his vibrance, his information has really just been a delight to have on the program here, don't you say?
Absolutely.
I told really Jeremy I'm the best, and I am the best. Muhammad Ali was the greatest, but I am the best at what I do.
Wonderful. I love that.
And if you don't believe me, read my book. It tells you I'm the best. And if you read the book and you still don't believe me, you come to my office and I'll fix your shoulder personally.
Well, I definitely could use some help with the shoulder here, and I know it's probably because I'm always holding my phone like this, so I got tension in my shoulder all the time. And the way I sit, my posture's poor, so I'm always putting pressure on the right side of my body, on my elbow, and it pushes the pressure up to the top part of my shoulder. And when I drive my car too, I do the same thing. I lean to my right, and I'm putting this pressure, and it's always right here at the top, a little tendon. I can feel it.
I can help you. I'm going to tell you right now. You have biceps tendonitis, okay? I can help you. And if I'm wrong, I'll give you 2 books for free signed with a bunch of golf balls with my name on them.
I love it. I love
Bicep
this.
tendonitis, is that you say? Did I just get...
Well, you know what? Do me a favor. Put your finger where the pain is again.
Okay.
Because for a while I couldn't see you. Yeah, that's your biceps tendon. I can help you. Believe me. I'll help you in 1 minute. You walk in the door, you'll walk out a minute later, you'll be cured.
Oh, man.
So, okay, we're going to come down there and then have Gary checked
Yes, you
out.
are.
And then maybe visit a few bridges.
Absolutely. Hey, I like you. I like you.
I like you too. I can't wait to read the book and you were talking about your upbringing, and your story sounds so fun and fascinating and interesting to me. You've been quite a guest for us.
So you're in Jersey, you said, right? You're in Jersey?
Yeah, aren't you guys in Manhattan?
No, we're in Chicago.
We're in Chicago. But
oh, you know what? My best friend lives in Chicago. I have an apartment on Wabash in the old newspaper building. I rent it out when Chicago's not on fire. But by the way, your taxes are going up. You know why I know that? Because you live in Chicago.
Yeah, of course. Well, listen, if you're in Chicago, you look us up. We're actually west of Chicago by about an hour.
How do I look you up? You'll have to, off the air, you'll have to tell me how to look you up.
Well, I've got your number here. It starts with an 8, so I can give you a text message.
No. You want the one that ends in 07.
Let's see
well,
here.
How about after the show, you can give us your number. We can.
Yeah, we want to stay in
problem.
touch with you. It's been so nice.
Yeah, I love you guys.
We love you
We're gonna
too.
go. My friend owns the steakhouse in Chicago called the Chop House.
Oh, he said steak.
Oh my goodness.
He said
give me
steak.
a fat ribeye.
Oh boy.
Oh
boy.
No, you got to get a big New York strip, 18 ounce, 24 ounce.
Or how about some nice Japanese Wagyu? There you go.
Nothing like
okay.
Oh boy. Oh
or
boy.
how about some? What's the snow Wagyu that we had?
Listen, you don't get a chin like this by not eating steak.
There you go. I got the same problem.
This is all steak.
Doctor,
steak.
Stick around. We got to close out the shows. Don't disconnect. We'll get your phone number. And I really had a great time with you. I look forward to meeting you, having you in studio as well, cutting some steak and talking. Angie, anything else you want to bring up before we go?
Oh gosh, this has been so much fun. And I know our subscribers and everyone tuning in tonight is going to enjoy it. We needed this today. We got a great deal of information from you, but we got to laugh. The best part about this.
Oh yeah, we got to laugh. Well, and speaking of laughing, I guess we're gonna close out the show. I got a special clip for you, Angie.
Oh no.
Yeah, we're gonna close out the show. So everybody, we'll see you next week, God willing, and remember, stay gold.
Bye. What is that? Why? That's the Benny Hill.
That's all we've got for you right now. Gary's got to run. We thank you for tuning into our podcast. If you're hungry for more, head on over to Gary's Next News Network YouTube channel for the latest news and commentary on current events. Until next time, stay gold.